Welcome back to All Sins and Commandments Alike. This is Griever, your guys' host as always, bringing you guys the second episode of the final season of Nanatsu no Taizai, also known as 7 Deadly Sins, Dragon's Judgment. Let's get underway because I feel like this will be a shorter review. You guys know that my first one was a little long-winded. There are reasons for that, of course. Starting a new series, coming back to 7 Deadly Sins, the new season, first episode, what to expect, what not to expect. We didn't even get into the openings and endings of the new season, which, by the way, some people really like the opening. Honestly, I feel like it leaves a little bit to be desired. I feel like season 1 opening is still the strongest, then season 2. Season 4's opening certainly pales in comparison to the first two, but it's not a bad song and it's not too bad. I actually like the ending more than the opening, in all honesty, both song and the way the ending flows video-wise. So I just wanted to get that out of the way before we get in, because I didn't talk about it for some reason in episode 1 review. I totally forgot. Slipped my mind. But let's get underway with episode 2, because honestly, this was a better overall animated episode than episode 1. In my opinion. It was more consistent. It's not the greatest, but it's far more consistent with the character designs, the animation, etc., etc. There were some nice shots, there were some okay shots. I mean, to be fair, there were some shots that you just have to kind of go, right? Like that kind of idea. But those were so few and far between, even compared to episode 1, that I felt like this was the better. And this is showcasing that they've learned from their mistakes. Episode 1, we're getting some stepping stones here, but I feel like this season overall will be above average. It'll be solid and it'll be consistent. Very unlike season 3, so I'm not too worried anymore. This episode has put me on team optimistic as far as that's concerned. Now, this episode had me worried for another reason. It had me worried that we were, after I praised the first episode for changing up the pacing from the manga, which is a key thing that is it's a key difference and a key great choice for reasons that we can't discuss yet. But I was worried for the majority of the episode because it felt like, okay, the first episode, here's the Elizabeth, King, and Esterosa group, here's the Battle of the Sixth group, and here's the Bon Meliodas Purgatory group, right? And we switched between them. Now, I understand after watching the episode that we can't constantly do that. You're switching up storylines way too much. There's no consistency. It's going to feel a little jumbled, a little over saturated if we continue to do that. But I was worried that we were going to drop completely out of doing that in this episode, because 3/4 of the episode follows Bon and Meliodas in Purgatory, starting off where we left them off at the end of the last episode and following through their adventures. We learn more about Purgatory, we learn more about what Meliodas went through. We get there, and there, sort of a disappointing shot, really. I felt like this could have been handled a little better, but overall not bad, where they get their new attire. Bon and Meliodas looking like the badasses they've always been since chapter 1, since episode 1 of this entire series. And it was a little lackluster compared to the manga adaptation of doing this, but still solid, still the right design, still the right color schemes. Let's freaking go, right? And then they meet up with Wild. They meet up with Wild, who is Hawk's brother, who knows him only as Mild, but as we know, Purgatory works a lot differently. Different animals were used to spy on Meliodas during the real world and stuff, and Hawk was like the perfect one to do that with, so that's why the Demon King stole him away. They find out basically that the Demon King is also the one guarding the way out of Purgatory, etc., etc. Not really a whole lot to go over or really discuss that wasn't already discussed in the episode. This episode was a bit of a brain dump. It was a bit of an info dump. It gave us a lot of information that anime-only viewers, you guys, would be like really interested in, really like, holy crap, this is the way this is the way that is. Okay, I get it. All right, let's go. But for us manga, avid readers and such, and just watching a hopefully end up being a good adaptation, if not a great adaptation from the source material, this is just stuff we already know, so it's not nearly as on the edge of our seat, interesting, etc., if that makes sense. But suffice it to say, I felt that this was well-paced, well-animated, followed, for the most part, followed the major storylines and major points, didn't seem to miss out on anything from the Purgatory arc in the manga, and I actually just really enjoyed watching the episode. I actually sort of forgot to take screenshots, so there might only be 2 or 3 in this one. I like to have about half a dozen to a dozen, somewhere between that. When I'm doing a review for an episode of an anime, I like to have a few screenshots that I take myself, of course, and post them throughout when it's relevant to what I'm talking about. But I was just sitting back and enjoying. I wasn't critiquing. I wasn't overly hyped. I was just sitting back and going, I remember this. I want to see how, I want to remember this because I haven't read this volume of the manga in a long time. I remember liking this part, and let's go. Let's see it. See it finally. Animated, color, sound, voice, and I just had a great time. Episode 2 was a very fun episode, far better than episode 1 in my opinion. And then we jumped over after the 3/4 of the episode is basically up. We do jump back to them at the very tail end, but that's basically what happened. And they team up with Wild, who finds out that his brother is Hawk, he's in the real world, etc., etc. And then we do jump over to the Battle of 6 for a time, and that solidified this episode as being good, and they are going to keep up their pacing idea for. I can't say anything for anime-only viewers, but this is great. This is better than how the manga handled it. The manga handled this in the same way I believe I brought up in the last episode review, how tiresome great arcs or good arcs can get when you keep week to week and bi-weekly, monthly to monthly, and you're following a really long stretch. Upon reread, when you can just get through it all, it's not that bad, but on a week-to-week basis, it drags on. Dressrosa, Whole Cake Island is 2 very prevalent, very, honestly good arcs. Some would consider some of their favorite or great arcs were abysmal to get through on a week-to-week basis. In the same way, Seven Deadly Sins did this around this time in the arc. But the pacing of this anime, this season, has completely changed that up for the better. And I'm so excited. I keep harping on this, guys, but you'll see why it's a great payoff. I'm not sure when they're going to do it. Probably halfway through the season, maybe a little earlier, but we'll see. I already said too much. But yeah, we jump back to the Battle of 6. We get some great moments here. We see Zeldris, the GOAT, according to Nia D. Hemmings. The GOAT himself, Prince of Darkness, Lord of all Sands, King of your shit. And he decides to unleash his original magical power that he has never showcased. We've seen the commandment, we've seen the ruler, we have borrowed Demon King powers, and a commandment from the Demon King himself. We haven't seen Zeldris' magical power, his original magical power. And now it's here. Omnibus Nebula. And, well, it's shittily explained in the translation I read, okay? When I was watching the subtitles, I was like, that is not what it does at all. Where's this? Where's that? Where's the other thing? So maybe in the Japanese they explained it better. Maybe I was just reading a poor translation, a poor subtitle. But suffice it to say, here's how it actually works, just so we're clear, guys. Omnibus Nebula is a sort of a gravity feat. It doesn't necessarily, from what I remember, it doesn't necessarily draw powerful individuals towards it. It just drags basically just about everything towards it, pretty much, right? Anything with some sense of a magical pulse, maybe, something like that. But I mean, that's okay. The problem with the explanation that I found in my subtitled version was they didn't talk about the tendrils of darkness. Omnibus Nebula utilizes darkness and innate demon ability to its full capacity. That's what struck Ludishell. That's what struck, everybody and blew them back. It drags you in, and then the tendrils, both sort of think Gaara. Think Gaara from Naruto with the sand. Think of that, invisible. Invisible Gaara sand is what is surrounding him, plus pulling you in at the same time. It's a 2-part attack, not necessarily 3. It's a 2-part attack. It's really badass. It works well in the manga. It's working well here. It's just poorly explained that I felt, but that could have been the Japanese. I don't speak Japanese, so maybe Merlin explained it completely perfect if you understand Japanese. I don't know. But the subtitles were a little subpar for that explanation. The rest of it went on. We got Escanor just... All right, gravity, slams his feet into the earth, and he's like, try me, bitch. Move me, bitch. You know, and that was really cool. Of course, I'm going to hype up every Escanor moment we get, of course. You get like, Escanor, right? Lord Escanor. And I love the interaction here. It was so good to see animated. I read it in the manga. I've been waiting for these type of banter, this type of moments, and just... when Ludacell's trying to attack and Omnibus Nebula is giving no holds bars, and it's just nothing good is going to come from this. And then Ludacell, of course, is swept up by the gravity again, slams on Escanor's back. Is like, how shameless can you be? Get the hell off my back! Like, you know, I didn't let you have that. And everyone's like, what the hell is this dude talking about? He's like, no. He's on my back. Get off me. I'm not here to save you. I'm not here to help you. He's like, I am the Lord of, the Archangels. He's like, who do you think you are? The Lion's of Pride. Escanor-sama. Respect the name, bitch. And he's just, but I'm the leader of the 4 Archangels. I'm Ludacell. Don't care. What? But my words are the words of God. No, because my words are the word of God. Like, he's just so goddamn cocky, so confident. OP done right well before we had other OP done right. Well before we had the Saitamas and we had the Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen and stuff like that. We had Escanor, really. We had Escanor. I don't actually know if the webcomic site, like One Punch Man, was going on before Escanor was introduced to 7 Deadly Sins. I'd have to look that up. But overall, certainly not mainstream by that time from what I remember anyways. I could be wrong about that. Either way, the original OP done right from when I was, when I was reading manga. And just the cockiness, the idea behind this, they're going to come up with a plan to somehow beat Omnibus Nebula. It's a well done moment, and I'm glad we split up the episode. We weren't full Purgatory episode, because that was sort of the pacing the manga took, and here we're getting an entire different sort of vibe, right? We're following multiple storylines at multiple junctions concurrently when it makes sense to split up and do so. And I'm really enjoying that factor. I hope they continue this, and I think I know why they're doing it. I hope the intention is not... I hope they don't disappoint me. I hope it's done well. You guys will know when it happens, if it is. And for the manga readers, you guys know exactly what moment I've been talking about for now 2 videos. Let's just hope and pray. Let's praise the sun, because if it's handled well, it might actually overshadow the way the manga handled it. It's possible. Even with the animation not being 10 out of 10, it still could do it. The right music, the right tone, the right episode, with all the right pacing. If everything lines up, this could be better than the manga chapter when it all went down. When the manga chapters, I should say, when it all went down. And I know I'm sort of saying too much. I promise this to be spoiler-free, but I don't think I've spoiled anything. Just that be ready to be hyped, anime-only viewers. So, that was the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on, whatever I plug here, there, and everywhere. And, once again, this has been Griever with episode 2 of 7 Deadly Sins, Dragon's Judgment. Praise the sun. See you back here next time for episode 3, guys. Peace out.